Hello friends, welcome to our channel Creating Essence. I am Megan. Thank you so much for stopping by today. I am doing my long overdue curriculum plan videos today. Usually I have these done in the beginning of May, but with everything going on in society these days, shipping for things has taken a very long time. So despite ordering most things in March and April, I still don't even have all of it, and it's the first week of June. I'm going to share with you all our curriculum plans anyway, because I know a lot of people are doing planning and purchasing right now, and I wanted to show you all what we're using in case you had any questions about any of it. So I can do flip throughs or show you details to help you make your decision on what you're going to do, or just see what other people are using. Tonight I am sharing about my son's 7th grade curriculum for the 2020-2021 school year. It's a lot of 20s. I've shared this before. My oldest son has high functioning autism spectrum disorder, as well as profound sensory processing disorder. I've shared lots of videos about how we modify our curriculum. I will post those in the links below in case you care to see them. He is what's called twice exceptional. Yes, he has those special needs with his neurological functioning that affect his learning and pretty much every aspect of life. But he also cognitively tests as brilliant. So we have the fantastic challenge of working with his challenges, especially on those hard days, and challenging him enough so that he doesn't get bored, because that also can have an impact on his attention span and things of that nature. So here's what we're using for him this year. For math, he will be doing Abeka Intermediate Mathematics, which is their newly redesigned 7th grade math curriculum. As I have shared before about Abeka, I don't get the teacher guides or anything. I get the work text corrections key. So I have basically this same book, but with all the answers written in, and that is it. I look at the lesson, we go over the content, I teach exactly what's on the page, we work through a couple problems together, and if that doesn't click for him, there are tons of resources online for pretty much anything you can possibly find. I don't need the script that Abeka provides with their teacher guides. Number one, it saves a lot of money. Number two, there's a lot of extra work included in those things, and our state required standardized testing, as well as just watching my kids progress year to year, have shown that my kids are getting a fantastic education this way and are testing years ahead of their grade level by using Abeka in this way. So I'm not at all concerned that we're missing something vital. For language, we will also be using Abeka. This year, Grammar and Composition Work Text 1, which is their 7th grade language arts. I really like how Abeka does their spiral learning method and continues to work in concepts and brush back up on them again over and over again, so kids don't forget what they learned earlier in the year, and it just continues to build on the very basic stuff they start with at the beginning of the year. They do that throughout their curriculum, so it's the same in math, it's the same in language. And I really appreciate that approach. It works really well for my kids, especially my son with autism. For spelling, we are changing it up for him this year. Instead of doing Abeka spelling, I wanted to do something a little different. We really love doing Wordly Wise for my oldest daughter with 8th grade last year. So this year in 7th grade, we're doing Book 7, Wordly Wise 3000 with my son. Wordly Wise is a great vocabulary centered focus. It has a much shorter spelling list than Abeka, but it teaches you the meanings of every single word as well as how to use it. I really appreciate that approach, and my daughter did fantastic with it last year, and I'm really excited to see how my oldest son does with it this year. This year my son will be doing Typing 2 from The Good and the Beautiful. This last year he has slowly worked his way through Typing 1. Getting the hang of proper keyboard skills has been a little bit of a challenge for him, but we're making progress, and we are finally getting ready to move into Typing 2 with him. For reading curriculum, my son is a voracious reader and has already read through all the things that are already on the typical 7th grade classics reading list that I would use for my kids. So for him, it's just going to be a lot of whatever strikes his fancy, whatever I see that I'd like to challenge him with, things like that. Our method with reading is They read through a full book. They write a book report on it. And then if there's a movie that goes along with that book, we watch the movie and we compare and contrast how any similarities or differences between the books and the movies. A new addition to the homeschooling lineup for our oldest two this year will be The Good and the Beautiful's Maturation and Sexual Reproduction unit study. This is something that Ashley over at Grace and Grit covered in great detail that I really appreciated. And as much as my son may be delayed in some social aspects and things of that nature, he's still very much physically is right on track and typical, and we really feel like this is important information to give him and to teach him the deep respect and modesty that puberty and development requires. I really loved the video that Ashley did about it and how she explained it, and that really kind of cemented that this was the program we wanted to use for our oldest two kids this year. We will not be doing it together. Ashley explained that her kids did it together, but I really feel like given my son's struggles with social appropriateness and things of that nature, it would be better if we went through this with him alone instead of with his older sister. They're only 22 months apart, but we really feel like this is something that's going to be a very different experience between the two of them, and it would be better for them to do it separately. For science, once again this year we will be doing our group subjects, as I've explained in videos in the past, all grades together. We will be continuing with Apologia. It's a program we really love and works really well for us. I've had so many questions about how I can possibly get my second grader a full education in science and my 7th and 9th graders a full education. And how we do that is a lot of supplemental reading. Even when we're just going through the regular curriculum, my older kids are going to understand things and ask questions at a much greater depth than my younger kids. And that's okay. It's okay if it goes right over the heads of my younger kids, because we will revisit it in a few years again. There will also be lots of supplemental reading. We have tons of nonfiction and reference books all over this house because I'm kind of a book fiend. And we also will be doing, as soon as libraries open, our weekly library day, where when I do my lesson planning on the weekends for the week ahead, I'll know what we're going to be covering that week. And on Mondays, we can pick up at the library any books that they have covering those topics. And my older kids, throughout the course of the week, will be required to read them, will be responsible for the content in them. So that definitely helps deepen and really broaden the understanding of that topic for my bigger kids. For history, we will be taking the same type of approach. We will be doing Story of the World because, once again, that works really great for my kids, our family, and our general approach. We'll be doing the same thing just like we do with science. I actually do have quite a few books on hand that my older kids will be working through this year in addition to the history curriculum. A few of those books are right here. We have The Politically Incorrect Guide to the Civil War, The Politically Incorrect Guide to the Constitution, The Politically Incorrect Guide to the Founding Fathers, The Politically Incorrect Guide to American History, and one book that I ordered a couple weeks ago and has not yet arrived is The Politically Incorrect Guide to the American Revolution. We really love this series of books. They're very substantial. We have found them to be incredibly historically accurate, and they include so much that you just cannot find in textbooks, especially those meant for kids. So we really appreciate how these broaden our kids' learning. Another set of books we'll be using are these. These are the Word Cloud Classics, Foundations of Freedom. This is actually something I found at Costco months ago. If you watch my grocery hauls, you may have seen this one. But these are some really nice quality, kind of faux leather-bound books. And this is the U.S. Constitution and other key American writings. It's the full Constitution and a bunch of other stuff. Common Sense and the Rights of Man by Thomas Paine, Selected Works of Alexander Hamilton, The Autobiography of Benjamin Franklin, Presidential Inaugural Addresses, and The Narrative Life of Frederick Douglass. I also have some great audiobooks that we'll be listening to, things like Up From Slavery by Booker T. Washington and other pieces like that that are really key pieces from American history that all my kids will be exposed to, but my 7th and 9th grader will really be responsible for the information, and we'll be having discussions on things in those pieces. For foreign language, we'll continue to work on American Sign Language. For the arts, we'll still be doing our 4-day work week with our Fun Fridays. On Fridays, we do things like our science experiments, our history projects, handiwork and different arts. My kids love to do things like watercolors. We're working with real quality watercolors and watercolor paper and learning watercolor skills. We also love to do lots of things with acrylic paints, peg dolls, wool felts, hand stitching. My 7th grade son especially has loved getting into hand stitching and creating little pouches and things of that nature. Last year he sewed an actual quiver for his arrows, for his bow and arrow, hand stitched it and everything. So we'll continue doing those types of things, interest-based, whatever it is that they'd like to do. And that is it for my son's 7th grade curriculum for the upcoming school year. Please let me know if you have any questions about anything in the comment section below. I'm happy to answer them. Thank you all so much for hanging out today. As always, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. It lets us know we're doing a great job and you like what you see, and subscribe to hang out for more. We'll see you again soon.